Do you know why that iPhone in your hand is completely dependent on China? It's not because Apple manufactures there. It's not because of cheap late labor. It's because of something that 99% of people in this world have no clue about: rare earth elements. Listen, that phone you're holding requires 17 different types of rare earth metals. From the screen, camera, battery to the speakers and vibration, no rare earths equals no iPhone. And guess who controls 95% of the global supply? China. Today I'm going to expose a conspiracy that the West has allowed China to execute over the past 30 years. A long-term plan that has turned this nation into the real tech superpower of the world, not through innovation, but through controlling raw materials. This story begins in 1990, when the West thought they were smarter than China. The result? Our entire modern civilization now lies in their hands. The truth that Western governments don't want you to know is the tech war is over, and China has won. After hearing this, you'll understand why Tesla can't exist without China, why Europe's green wind turbines are completely dependent on Beijing, and most importantly, why this crisis has only just begun. Rare earths aren't rare, but extracting and processing them is extremely complex. This is the first truth the system doesn't want you to know. Rare earth elements aren't rare in the conventional sense. Cerium is more abundant than copper on Earth. Neodymium is more abundant than gold. So why are they called rare? Because they're extremely difficult to separate from each other. Imagine you have a cake with 17 different spices mixed evenly throughout. Your job is to separate each spice with 99.9% purity. That's the challenge with rare earths. This process requires hundreds of complex chemical steps, extremely expensive refining technology, causes severe environmental pollution, and demands decades of accumulated technical knowledge. And this is where China has been smarter than the entire world. While the West was arguing about environmental issues, China quietly invested in this technology from the 1980s. They didn't just mine ore, but built the entire supply chain, from extraction, refining, to manufacturing end products. The result? A global monopoly that no one can break. You see, this isn't about differences in natural resources. America has rare earths, Australia has rare earths, Canada has rare earths, but they don't have the processing technology, and that's the trap China set up 30 years ago. We have oil, they have rare earths. This quote from Deng Xiaoping in 1992 accurately predicted the future. China didn't just want to become the world's factory, but also wanted to control the raw materials for all high technology. The first phase from 1990 to 2000, China began selling rare earths at extremely low prices, even below cost. The goal? To bankrupt other producers worldwide. In America, Mountain Pass, the largest rare earth mine in the U.S., closed in 2002 because it couldn't compete. Australia, Canada, Brazil, all other producers had to surrender. The second phase from 2000 to 2010, after eliminating competitors, China began building the entire ecosystem. Not just mining, but also investing in R&D for refining technology, building modern processing plants, training expert teams, and integrating with other industries. The third phase from 2010 to 2020, China began weaponizing supply. In 2010, China first used rare earths as a geopolitical weapon. When disputes arose with Japan over the Senkaku Islands, Beijing suddenly cut rare earth exports to Tokyo. The result? Rare earth prices increased 9 times within 6 months. Japanese industry fell into crisis, and the world finally realized China had seized the lifeline of the global economy. The fourth phase from 2020 to present, China has achieved absolute dominance. Currently, China not only controls 95% of raw rare earth production, but also 98% of refining capacity, 85% of permanent magnet production, 90% of lithium-ion battery production, and 70% of solar panel production. This isn't economic success. This is a perfect geopolitical strategy. Your iPhone needs 17 different types of rare earths. Let's dissect that phone in your hand. The screen needs indium for touchscreens, europium and terbium for colors. The camera needs lanthanum for lenses, cerium for polished glass. Speakers need neodymium for strong magnets. Vibration needs tungsten for vibration motors. Batteries need lithium, cobalt, nickel. Each iPhone requires about 5 grams of rare earths. Apple sells 200 million devices per year. Calculate it. iPhone alone consumes 1,000 tons of rare earths annually, and all must come from China. Tesla can't exist without China. A Tesla Model S needs 20 kilos of neodymium for electric motors, 63 kilograms of lithium for batteries, 15 kilograms of cobalt for cathodes, and 2 kilograms of dysprosium for high-temperature magnets. Elon Musk can tweet whatever he wants about Made in America, but the truth is, no Chinese rare earths equals no Tesla. Europe's green wind turbines are the same. Each wind turbine needs up to 600 kilograms of neodymium for permanent magnets. Europe wants to be carbon neutral by 2050. They need an additional 100,000 new turbines. Calculated, 60,000 tons of neodymium, equal to the entire world's production for 3 years. And guess who controls 95% of neodymium production? We've created a monster. That's from a Pentagon official. In 2021, when the COVID-19 pandemic broke out, the world truly realized how dependent they were on China. Not just masks and medicine, but high technology too. The Biden administration launched the Inflation Reduction Act with $400 billion to reindustrialize America. Goal, reduce dependence on China. But there's one problem. How can you reindustrialize when raw materials still come from your competitor? Mountain Pass Mine in California has been restarted, but they can only extract. For refining, still have to send to China. Europe is the same. The EU has issued the Critical Raw Materials Act, with goals of 10% rare earths from domestic mining by 2030, 40% from domestic processing, and no more than 65% from one country. Sounds good, but what's the reality? Building a rare earth refining plant takes 10 years. Training expert teams takes 20 years. Getting technology as advanced as China's? Maybe 30 years. Meanwhile, China isn't sitting still. China isn't satisfied with just controlling rare earths. They're expanding to the entire value chain. Lithium-ion batteries, 90% market share. Solar panels, 85% market share. Wind turbines, 60% market share. Electric vehicles, 55% market share and rising. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, they're investing in rare earth mines in Africa, building processing plants in developing countries, and creating raw material buffer zones. Result, even when other countries find alternative supplies, China still controls. Here's the most ironic thing. To counter China, the West is pushing green energy transition. But all green technology requires rare earths. Result, the greener you go, the more dependent on China you become. Beijing has turned energy transition into a perfect trap. They don't need to embargo oil like Saudi Arabia. They just need to control materials for the future. When China sneezes, the world catches a cold. In 2022, when China implemented zero COVID, the entire global technology supply chain stalled. Rare earth prices tripled. Auto manufacturers had to stop production lines. And that was just a health crisis. Imagine if there's military conflict around Taiwan. China could completely cut rare earth exports, impose selective embargoes, and use rare earths as economic weapons. The result could be collapse of the global auto industry, halted production of iPhones, Samsung devices, laptops, renewable energy crisis, and complete digital transformation paralysis. This isn't science fiction. This is a reality check. Dependence on China has created a new type of inflation, supply chain inflation. When one country controls supply, they can manipulate prices at will, create artificial scarcity, and force other countries to accept conditions. Consumers pay the price. Businesses go bankrupt. Governments are powerless. Australia, Canada, and the US are restarting rare earth mines, but they face technical challenges, lacking advanced refining technology, no expert teams, and cost 3 to 4 times higher than China. Environmental challenges. Processes cause heavy pollution, opposition from local communities, and enormous environmental cleanup costs. Economic challenges. China can dump prices anytime, payback periods of 15 to 20 years, and high political risk. Scientists are researching alternative technologies, magnets without rare earths, batteries without lithium, and displays without indium. But this is a race against time, and China is also investing heavily in R&D. Some experts say, instead of fighting, cooperate. But what does this mean? Hand over control of future technology to one country? While governments are still struggling, smart investors have begun taking action. Lynas Corporation from Australia is the largest rare earth producer outside China, has increased 300% since 2020, and is supported by the U.S. government. MP Materials from the U.S. owns Mountain Pass Mine, plans to build a complete supply chain, and has Pentagon backing. Alternative technology companies like Niron Magnetics with iron nitrogen magnet technology, Novion Magnetics with rare earth-free magnets, and urban mining companies specializing in rare earth recycling are also noteworthy. But here's the most important thing. Don't think this is a short-term race. The quest to find alternative supplies will last at least a decade, and during that time, rare earth prices will continue rising. Investment rules. Invest in companies with government backing, avoid startups without real technology, diversify between mining and technology, and prepare for high volatility. Now you understand why China truly controls global technology. This isn't about innovation. It's not about cheap prices. It's about controlling raw materials. While Silicon Valley focused on software, China quietly controlled hardware. While the West argued about ESG, Beijing built an industrial empire. Result? A world where every high-tech device has "made by China" inside. Can this monopoly be broken? Possibly, but it will take decades and enormous costs. Meanwhile, China continues expanding its advantage. The most important thing to remember, this isn't ordinary economic competition. This is a battle for control of the future. And currently, China is winning overwhelmingly. As an investor, research the supply chains of companies you invest in and diversify into sectors less dependent on China. As a consumer, understand that every tech purchase decision has geopolitical impact. As a citizen, demand your government have long-term strategy, not just short-term reactions. The final truth, the rare earth crisis isn't the future. It's happening right now, and it will shape the world for the next 30 years. The question isn't whether we can escape this dependence. It's how much we'll pay for that dependence. If this analysis helps you better understand the world we're living in, share it to awaken more people. Don't let this truth remain in the hands of just a few, because knowledge is power, and power shouldn't belong to just one country.